That's what eats them alive. That's what keeps them awake at night. The fact that you don't need them. The fact that you've broken free. They wanted you weak. They wanted you lost. They wanted you so desperate for love or approval, for a place to belong, that you would always come running back. They thrived on your self-doubt. It made them feel powerful. It made them feel needed. But now you stand tall. Now you wake up every morning and breathe without them. Now you smile without waiting for permission. Now you live fully, unapologetically, completely. And they hate it. Because they wanted you to believe that you were nothing on your own. That you needed their words, their affection, their presence to feel whole. They built a world where you were the dependent, the weak one, the one who always needed fixing. And for the longest time, you believed it. You thought you were incomplete. You thought something was missing. You thought that without them, without their validation, without their approval, you were nothing. But you were wrong. And that's what they can't handle. The moment you realize you were whole on your own, the moment you stop begging, the moment you stop proving yourself to people who never deserved you, that's when everything changed. They can't control you anymore. They can't manipulate your emotions. They can't keep you in a constant state of uncertainty, of waiting, of hoping they'll finally see your worth. Because now you see it yourself, and that infuriates them. They call you distant. They call you arrogant. They say you've changed. Of course you have. You've shed the version of yourself that needed them. You've killed the part of you that thought love had to be earned, that happiness had to be granted, that your worth had to be decided by someone else. They don't recognize you anymore. Because the old you, the one who settled, the one who apologized for existing, the one who walked on eggshells just to keep the peace, that person is dead. And in their place stands someone unbreakable, someone untouchable. They can't reach you anymore. Not with their guilt, not with their silent treatments, not with their mind games, not with their half-hearted affection, because you've seen the truth. You've seen what it means to belong to yourself. And once you taste that kind of freedom, once you know what it's like to wake up every day without feeling like you have to prove something to someone, there's no going back. So let them hate it. Let them resent the fact that you no longer shrink yourself to make them feel bigger. Let them be angry that you refuse to beg for the love that should have been given freely. Let them watch from the sidelines as you build a life that doesn't include them. Because you are not incomplete. You never were. And now that you know it, they will never hold power over you again. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. The moment you stop needing them, the moment you stop begging for their approval, their validation, their presence, that's when they start to resent you. Because they thrived on your dependence. They fed off your insecurities. They loved knowing that you were looking for something, someone to make you feel whole. It made them feel powerful. It gave them control. And now you've pulled yourself together, now that you stand on your own, without reaching for them, without crawling back to them. They can't stand it. They want you to doubt yourself. They want you to believe that you're nothing without them, that you need their words, their affection, their permission to exist fully. But you don't, and that burns them alive. You see, when you stop seeking approval, you strip them of their power. You take away their ability to manipulate, to decide how you should feel about yourself. You don't need their validation. You don't need their empty compliments, their half-hearted encouragement, their conditional love. You have yourself, and that's enough. They can't comprehend it because they've never been whole themselves. They've spent their lives attaching their value to others, to opinions, to fleeting relationships, to hollow praise. They don't know what it means to stand alone and feel complete. So when they see you doing exactly that, it shakes them to their core. They whisper behind your back. They call you arrogant, cold, detached. Because in their world, independence is a threat. Self-sufficiency is an insult. They can't understand strength that doesn't come from being surrounded by admirers. They don't know how to exist without leaning on someone else, and that's why they hate you. Because you're free. Because you wake up every morning knowing that your worth isn't tied to a text message, a phone call, a pat on the back. Because you don't need their reassurance to feel like you matter. They try to shake you. They try to make you feel guilty. You've changed. Damn right you have. You've outgrown the need to be liked, to be accepted, to be chosen. You don't wait around for them to decide if you're worthy. You decide. They wanted you weak. They wanted you desperate. They wanted you second-guessing yourself so they could swoop in and play the hero. But you don't need saving anymore, and that kills them. You are untouchable now. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to ever let someone else dictate your happiness again. You refuse to hand over the keys to your peace, your confidence, your identity. You refuse to be anyone's puppet. They will try to break you. They will call you selfish. They will paint you as the villain in their story. Because to them, independence is betrayal. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them turn their backs. You keep walking, keep rising, keep proving that you were never incomplete to begin with. Because the truth is, the only people who get mad when you find yourself are the ones who benefited from you being lost. The ending of this speech is the final resounding declaration of independence and self-realization. It wraps up the entire message with power, clarity, and an undeniable sense of finality. Let's break it down in depth, so let them hate it. This line is a turning point. It acknowledges that people will react negatively to your transformation. They will hate seeing you grow and depend someone who no longer depends on them, who no longer plays by their rules. But instead of resisting their hatred, instead of fearing their disapproval, the speech boldly suggests that you embrace it. You let them hate it because their hatred is proof of your strength. Let them resent the fact that you no longer shrink yourself to make them feel bigger. This is about the power dynamics that once existed between you and them. There was a time when you diminished yourself, whether in voice, presence, or confidence, just to avoid making them uncomfortable. You played small so they could feel superior. But not anymore. Now they have to sit with the discomfort of seeing you step into your full power, and they hate it. They resent it. They wish you would go back to being the version of yourself that made them feel important. Let them be angry that you refuse to beg for the love that should have been given freely. Love, respect, and support should never be conditional. If someone truly cares about you, they should offer these things without making you chase after them. But in the past, they dangled affection like a prize, making you feel like you had to prove yourself worthy. Now you refuse to play that game. You refuse to beg for something that should have been given without hesitation. And this refusal enrages them because it strips them of their control. Let them watch from the sidelines as you build a life that doesn't include them. This is where the speech takes its final, decisive turn. You are no longer just moving unemotionally. You are moving forward in life. You are building something solid, fulfilling, and beautiful without them. They once believed you couldn't function without their presence. Now they are forced to watch as you thrive without them. And that is their greatest punishment. Because you are not incomplete. This is the core message of the speech. Restated one last time for absolute clarity. Everything they ever made you believe about yourself that you were lacking, that you needed them to be whole, that you were nothing on your own, was a lie. The truth is, you were never missing anything. You were never broken. You never needed them to complete you. You never were. This short but powerful statement reinforces that your completeness was never something you had to earn or seek from others. It was always within you. The only difference now is that you finally see it. And now that you know it, they will never hold power over you again. This is the final nail in the coffin. Not only have you broken free, but you can never be manipulated in the same way again. The illusion has shattered. The spell has been broken. You have seen the truth about yourself, and that truth has made you untouchable. This ending is a triumphant declaration that the old power structures, the old dependencies, the old wounds, none of them have control over you anymore. You are free, and no one can take that away from you ever again. So let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them throw their accusations, their judgments, their resentment like stones at your back. Let them call you cold, let them say you've changed, let them spin their stories about how you've lost your way. Because you know the truth. You haven't lost anything. You found something. You found yourself. And that is something they will never forgive you for. Because as long as you needed them, as long as you sought their approval, they had power. They had control. They got to decide when you were worthy, when you were good enough, when you were allowed to feel like you mattered. But now you don't wait for permission to exist. Now you don't ask for validation. Now you don't need their words to define your value. And they hate it. Because people like them survive on control. They thrive on being the center of your universe, on having a say in your every decision, your every thought, your every feeling. They need you to be uncertain, to be lost, to be desperate for their guidance. Because if you ever realize that you don't need them, that you never really did, their entire world falls apart. And that's exactly what's happening now. They don't recognize you anymore. The old you, the one who apologized for taking up space, who watered yourself down to be more digestible, who waited anxiously for a scrap of their approval, that version of you is gone, dead. And from the ashes has risen someone they never expected. Someone who no longer flinches at their disapproval. Someone who no longer changes themselves to fit into their expectations. Someone who no longer waits to be chosen, because they have already chosen themselves. Do you understand how powerful that makes you? Do you realize what kind of freedom that gives you? When you stop needing them, you become untouchable. Because there is nothing they can take from you anymore. They can take their words, their affection, their attention. They can take their empty promises, their insincere love, their manipulative kindness. Let them take it all. Let them strip away every illusion, every lie, every piece of conditional affection they used to control you. Let them walk away. Let them slam the door. Let them pretend they never needed you, because in the end you will still be standing. Because you have finally seen yourself for who you really are, not someone incomplete, not someone broken, not someone who needs saving. You are not the beggar at their feet anymore. You are the storm that they never saw coming, and they will never have power over you again. Let that sink in. Let it wrap around your soul like armor. Let it sink into your bones so deeply that you never forget it. You do not need them. Not now. Not ever. Because you are never incomplete. And now that you know that, there is nothing they can do to break you ever again.